All right, so I'm not an eat the rich kind of guy. I believe you pay for performance. I believe great employees deserve to be compensated greatly. But when somebody sucks at their job, the last thing they should have or ever receive is an enormous paycheck to go away, which is exactly what happened with Carlos Tavares. And I'm going to share with you that insanity in just a second. But first, let's roll that intro. All right, so yes, it's true. Some of you have messaged me and said, did you see this? Have you heard this? What do you think about this? And I did a video shortly after Carlos Tavares from Stellantis stepped down, and I was trying to predict what I thought they would pay him to go away. And I wasn't far off based on my rudimentary knowledge of how these things tend to go. But I was low because they did come in strong, and they paid him 37.4 million US dollars to go away. He's already gone. So it's not even to pay him to go away. It's like, thanks for blowing up our company. Thanks for incinerating all of our brands. Thanks for destroying our US market. Thanks for screwing things up in Italy. Thanks for overall just making us the laughing stock in the entire world, in the planetary system, probably beyond the planet Earth. Probably there's Martians out there going, holy crap, I can't believe that guy did that. I mean, that's how bad he screwed it up. And I don't think there's anyone in the world that would dispute that his performance was subpar at best, if not downright reckless and irresponsible. And I mean, borderline criminal when you think about it, some of the things he did, because he knew as he was doing them that they were not working, yet his smug, incredible insensitivity and arrogance, which he even admitted to in one article, led to this company's, collapse. It's just dangling by a thread at this point. We got delivered stupid things like the Hornet. He killed Chrysler. We've got a EV muscle car, which is the stupidest thing in the world. So in the end, what we've learned is the goal for all of us should be figure out how to become a CEO at a giant publicly traded company, because you could underperform, and even if you don't get to keep your job, you're still going to get handed an enormous, gigantic truckload of cash to go away. But let me show you what this man was making the entire time he was screwing this company over. And even under massive protest from other massive investors in Stellantis, Elkin and the board still said, give him the money, which tells me that there is a good old boys club and they're all sitting around sipping on rare scotch and smoking cigars saying, yeah, let's pay him enough money. And let me just tell you why. Because when they come for us, when we're on our way out, we want a precedent set so that they have to pay us to go away too. And I got to think that in the end, every one of these people who are either on the board or in other positions of influence we're likely thinking, well, let's keep this system rolling the way it's rolling so that not only us, but many other of our best friends could all benefit from being horrible employees. Even if we fail at our jobs, we still get to have generational FU money handed to us on the way out the door. Let me show you what he's been making. This is kind of crazy. So, of course, this is the article on Mopar Insider where he got $37.4 million to go away. I can't remember what I thought it would be. I thought it'd be close to $30 million or something like that, and maybe 20 something, but he got bounced with a massive amount of money. 12 million of it severance and milestone bonus payments. Imagine that. He had milestones. What milestones on how to screw a company up? But I thought I would share this with you. The green light comes despite heavy opposition from key proxy advisors and investment groups. These folks here with massive influence had urged shareholders to reject the payout, citing the company's rough financial year and rising concerns over corporate governance. It is not acceptable to award severance pay to a manager who led a company to a situation of failure. So it's not just us saying it. We were saying it for years, but they're finally admitting that he failed. And one of those massive investment firms has said the same exact thing here. But let's look at what this clown was making before this. And I went ahead and pulled up just to go back. If you look at 2021, 19 million euros. So what was that? $20 million, $22 million, something like that, whatever the exchange rate was back then. The following year was 23.5 million euros. So was that probably close to $26 million? I don't know what the exchange rate was then, but that's a massive amount of money. And then he scooched right into 2023, where he was able to parachute out with that massive $39.5 million. And then in 2024, as the company started to slide, despite some big stock gains at the beginning of 2024, things went really sideways the second half, and he still walked with $24 million. And now they're giving him another $37 million to go away. So listen, I am not the type to sit here and cry like, why do people get to be rich and we don't? No, that's not who I am. We all make our bed, and we all go after the gold in our own ways. And I believe that if somebody's outstanding at what they do and a phenomenal CEO, even though some of these articles talk about some of these being quite excessive pay for some of these CEOs, I'm willing to say, hey, look, they made a deal that would go up, go down. Now, to be clear, Tavares' salary, I believe, was running around $2 million. So his base salary. So if the company would have continued on the path it's going, he would have fallen back to a $2 million base salary, his fringe benefits, and maybe some long-term incentives that he would get over time if he stayed with the company. But instead, they got rid of him. So I'm fine with somebody getting $2 million and then you get paid on performance if you really crush it. But he didn't crush it. And here's my deal. Fine, his contract said to meet the certain expectations of the EV rollouts. And he did. And he laid off tons and tons, thousands of people, moved jobs overseas, created all kinds of problems they now have to fix. And now they're coming back and saying, well, let's just go ahead and give him $37 million to go away. I think that's where I have the issue is I don't think anyone in the world with a brain or a third-grade education would say that this man did a great job, that this guy will be remembered for the incredible performance that he displayed in running this company. One thing he proved is that he is heartless. He can cut a company down to the bone while getting paid massive amounts of money and have no compunction for that or with that, and no sympathy or empathy as he was doing it, because it was pretty brutal. And while I totally get companies need to ebb and flow, this guy should have been the first guy to step up and say, look, I'm going to take a lower paycheck while the company's struggling. He probably could have wrote it out longer, but this was all about corporate greed, and he displayed the worst of it. So that's what happened with Carlos Tavares, folks, and that's why we're at where we're at with Stellantis and Dodge and Chrysler and Jeep and Ram, and they still have not announced a new CEO. They're saying for sure, Elkan's saying for sure by the end of second quarter, and it'll be interesting who they put in that job. It'll also be interesting to see what they pay that person, because I got to imagine they learned a lesson from paying this kind of money to a guy like this, that they'll probably, maybe at least the shareholders are going to be screaming, and the folks with the loudest voice are going to be screaming that, fine, you got your way with Tavares, but let's be smart the next time around, which might be stupid because that might be the guy that can actually turn the company around. So crazy stuff. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think if you did a crappy job at your job that you would get handed an enormous paycheck to go away? I don't know about you all, but I know there's severance out there, but it's rarely to an extent that this man has been compensated for the horrible job that he did. And we all can only hope that one day we get the same opportunity. With that, everybody, please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.